Role in the African National Congress, and he joined the party in 1943 and remained a faithful member until his death in 2013. The spokesperson of the African National Congress, Pule Mabe, is with us as well in studio to discuss Madiba's role in the organization and, of course, his legacy as well. Mr. Mabe, thank you so much for joining us this evening. On Full View, I suppose the occasion today itself must have been overwhelming across the country. Yes. But the question becomes, has the ANC in itself still overwhelmingly fulfilled Madiba's legacy?
Thank you. And let me also just greet the viewers of SABC, and thanks for having us once more. Well, the African National Congress will forever respect and treasure the legacy of Tata Nelson Mandela in the work that we do. Actually, when we launched our program, which was launched by President Cyril Ramaphosa, unveiling as well a plaque outside Lituli House on Tomamina, one of the things we did was that we had declared this year the year of Tata Nelson Mandela and Mama Albertina Sisulu. Actually, the Tomamina volunteers are the volunteer corps named after Tata Madiba and Mama Albertina as part of celebrating their centennial years, because we believe that out of their exemplary lives we could be able to inspire many others, especially the youth, to take forward what still needs to be done to construct and make this country a magic country that Madiba wanted to make. Yeah.
In the same breath, and it's a question that we've asked across the evening, in its current form, would Madiba still be a member of the ANC?
He would very much still be. You would know that part of his famous lines would have been that for as long as he lives, he will be a member of the ANC. He was buried ANC. He believed in the organization and its values. Whenever there were issues or challenges in the organization, he was quick to raise those. So what actually inspires us as members of the ANC, it's our ability to be able to rise, you know. Just to quote a famous line from Tata Walter Sisulu, is that we are about problems arising and problems being resolved, and Madiba believed in that.
Yeah.
When problems come up, a cadreship of the ANC should be able to attend to those and find solutions, whether it's the ills in society, whether it's corruption, whether it's the distribution of much needed basic services and all of that. The ANC still ensures that up till this day it inspires its own cadreship to be able to do the things that are in the interest of the people.
The needs themselves may not have changed, but adapting to other needs that people have, adapting to changes, yes, and at the same time ensuring that you fulfill the legacy of this great leader. Is that something that the ANC currently has in its ability to perhaps move forward as a unified party?
Well, the fact that we have now launched the Tomamina campaign, at the heart of the Tomamina campaign is the need to instill a greater sense of selflessness amongst those who are charged with the responsibility of leading our organizational structures, but generally amongst communities themselves. We are saying, what can we do together to make our communities look better? You know, and we have even dedicated, look at what we've done. We now have a title deed Fridays. This is part of honoring the legacy of Madiba. We are saying in that community where there are title deeds that need to be given to people as part of the land reform and land redistribution program, let us do that. Give people ownership to property and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, because this guarantees them security of tenure. Now, all of these things are being done under the guise of the African National Congress. We are doing this to honor people like Tata Nelson Mandela.
Some would say that you lead the discussion, but the action in and of itself is not as visible as it should be on the ground. What do you say to that?
Well, the fact that coming out of our 54th National Conference, one of the commitments we made, and this is a line that the President of the ANC and all officials, the Secretary General, the Deputy President, National Chair, all of them, the entirety of the whether the Treasurer General, all of the entirety of the executive, the point that they always reiterate is this renewal program. When people went to Mangaung, people would have supported different things, yes, but when they emerged with a different leadership. Now, what was incumbent upon that is to make sure that under the new dawn, one of the things that needs to happen is to be able to renew the organization, show members that it is possible to coexist and do things as one for as long as all of us are devoted members of the African National Congress. And that is what Madiba was all about.
But I'm talking now about action. putting all of those words, those policies, you come out of the conference with a whole host of issues that you plan to put together, that you speak about.
Yes.
But the question is, can we put that into physical action and see it happening over the next few years?
Well, we can. One, the fact that the ANC had moved swiftly on the issue of expropriation of land without compensation. Remember, when the motion was put forward in Parliament, it was the African National Congress that amended that motion to make sure that it gives this important meaning of beginning to engage on a constitutional review process. And if this process of a constitutional review is undertaken successfully, one of the things that it will do is that it will begin laying out parameters that will intensify and fast-track the program of land reform and land redistribution.
Yeah, a few issues with regards to the integrity of the ANC, some may call. Do you feel that it's been eroded?
Well, where there were matters of erosion of our own integrity, the party had moved to do a number of things. One of the things that we did at the 53rd National Conference was to agree to establish an integrity commission. The ANC never had this before.
Yes.
And what we also did at the 54th National Conference was to also agree to establish a Council of Elders. These are important instruments that are discharged or concern themselves with fast-tracking, one, the good conduct of our own members, two, being able to make sure that in everything else we do, we still align ourselves to the very principles and values which were the cornerstone of establishing this organization of Tata Nelson Mandela. Actually, one of the things that I kept on wanting to read, you know, when the Deputy Secretary General was in Cuba, one of the messages she had written to us was and I'm going to just read a paragraph. Sure. She said, "Today we honor a man who was indeed a man of passion, humility, enduring courage, and like any revolutionary, an iron that will move beyond survival and to win. He chose the life of a revolutionary, fully believing that winning against apartheid and colonialism of a special type meant sacrifice. We honor a man who was never a god. He was a humanist who knew that the hopes and aspirations of the people of South Africa can only come through a combination of actions which required strategic planning and a will to execute." Now, this is now the Deputy Secretary General who worked closely with Tata Nelson Mandela, giving her own reflection of the man that he knew in Tata Nelson Mandela.
Execution as your final word there, you said as well, and it's something that I touched on a lot earlier. Policy stability and ensuring that that is executed correctly, whether it be mining, whether it be land, whether it be the contentious issue of the South African Reserve Bank as well. That is going to be something that is going to be questioned of the ANC coming up.
The fact that the African National Congress is using the might of participatory democracy to provide space for people to be able to raise and register their own views is to ensure that the kind of policies that the ANC implements are those that are effectively agreed upon by the people. You will know that one of the symbolic gestures that the African National Congress did as part of inspiring its own revolutionary drive was the adoption of the Freedom Charter in 1955. And in the Freedom Charter, there is a clause in there that says the people shall govern. Now, it means that a government that is established or constructed on the will of the people is one that allows people to be able to raise their own views. This is what Tata Nelson Mandela and his generation believed in.
100 years since the birth of Tata Nelson Mandela. Pule Mabe, spokesperson for the ANC, thank you so much for your time this evening. Truly appreciate it. We'll get back into those